And we're back. Sometimes things happen on a Monday.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope our people come back.
Our people will come back. But guess what? But if they subscribe to you, they can always go to, they don't have to watch it live anyway, because then what we're going to do is send out the second part, the part 2 link. I think we give them part 1. I went on part 1 already. We're gonna merge. That's why you have the good technology, because you can edit. So where my people at? I text my people. There you go. There you go. Come on back, y'all. Come on back. So let me just say this.
Yes, come on.
And so the devil beat the devil. The devil be busy. But it's okay. But listen, y'all. But this is why we have to give our permission to fail. Yeah. We have to give ourselves permission to not be perfect.
And to make a mistake, because y'all should have seen me running around here trying to get the thing back going, and this setup, and this about to die, and oh shoot, I forgot my charger at home, and asking the people. And at one point that would have drove me crazy, derailed me and frazzled. But one, I've been taking so many hits.
Okay.
So what you guys don't know is the reason why I left my charger. This was together. Because I called this morning. That my Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Let me tell you something about me. I ain't gonna give up. So Amber, yes, we see your messages now. Girl, where you at? Where we at? Where we at?
We have
Come on,
to
talk to the people.
We're gonna have to
While
pull the screen down, or they just gonna see our necks. They're like, she just got a neck. She ain't got no shoulders, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Smurf that body across. That's old school. Y'all don't know about that, y'all don't know about that. About 50.
With the old school.
That's old school. You know, we just 50 years in hip hop. What y'all know about that? Head, shoulders, gonna Smurf it.
Wow.
Y'all used to watch the Smurfs like me. I was remember Gargamel? Gargamel? Smurfette. She the only chick just hot on the bot with all the Smurfs.
If I had to choose who to have all these issues with, it would be you.
Girl,
we might want to just make sure we just say virtual from now on and don't try to do it in person.
No.
Another kid. If y'all watch some of the other videos, it was so smooth.
It was so smooth.
I don't know what happened.
But that's why you make it happen on Monday. Listen, it's all good in the hood, in the beach wood. Okay? We in the wood. So anyway, it's okay. We back. I see we still got our romper room friends. I see Amber. I see Stephanie and all of my romper room friends.
Thanks for coming back. So, but we probably should level set, right? And remind people what we're talking about.
Yes.
So, of course, this is my phenomenal guest, Latoya Smith. And she is an executive coach and an intimate coach. And she's the founder of Eros Heart Coaching. Today, we are talking about pleasure and how we're not going to let nothing take our pleasure, okay?
Not even technical difficulties.
So we had lots of technical difficulties, but we are back.
We are back.
Make sure, let us know if you can comment and just let us know that we are back on track. That you guys can still see us.
So give us a high sign. Say, give me a heart. Give me a purple heart. If you can see us, say something in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. We good?
We're good.
All right.
So we were talking about pleasure. And we were at the point where we were talking about defining pleasure. And we were saying that some people associate pleasure with pain. Some people associate it with things that they enjoy. But you were talking about how we have to relearn it. So when you were saying what you know in your body and what brings up that pleasure and joy, I have talked to and worked with so many women that do not know.
Yeah.
If I said, give me a list of 25 things that bring you pleasure, they couldn't do it. So let's talk a little bit about that.
It's interesting because you're right. If you were to ask those same women, like you said, give me a list of 25 or up to what brings you pleasure. Some will have some challenges, but they probably can create a list of what things that don't bring them pleasure first and create it faster than the list of what things bring them joy. And we live sometimes in the opposite space. We can tell you really quickly what we don't like, but when we tell you which we want, what we desire, we struggle. Why is that?
When I spoke this weekend, I said, and then what we don't realize is whatever we focus on is what grows.
Right.
So if you're so quick to say what you don't want,
all of it's gonna keep coming up and
more.
more.
Exactly. I'm reading the law of attraction right now. So it's really clear. Like all of that stuff keep happening. So when you wonder why you keep getting the things you don't enjoy, it's because you're focused on that.
And that's why it's important to really vibrate higher daily. Yeah. I think I said earlier about my morning ritual. So it's a Monday, no matter what day it is. But, I start my day in movement, in music, in meditation, right? In stillness. I'm segment intending of what I want my day to look like. And so when you have that intentionality and you're saying, I'm going to set my intentions that pleasure is going to show up throughout the day. That's being intentional about that. No matter what hiccups, I knew that I was going to have to be here and all that stuff. No matter what hiccup, right?
Live ain't live.
Right. Live ain't live no more, right? On, off, wax on, wax off. But again, nothing took my joy away. It's still here. I can still feel your heat, your fire, right?
Yeah,
right. And it ain't the heat from, oh my goodness,
like
I did.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
We choose, let me say, I'm trying to use the language of not having to do something, but choosing and having the choice to do something. So I'm also paying attention to my language, and some language I didn't have before doing this work,
well,
right?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, because like you said, nothing is taking you from your pleasure now. You have music, you have movement. So those are things that you have learned bring you pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always had a sense of what brought you pleasure, or is there a moment where you had to get more intentional, or you had to find it, or something took you to like, I need to find my pleasure?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you even got to this place.
So I got to this point because, number one, you know, as you get older and things start to shift in your life, you, especially I'm telling you, ladies, if you're not in your 40s yet or older, when you get in your 40s and thereafter, things will shift for you emotionally, chemically. Physically. Listen, honey. And so I probably gonna beat somebody up and probably get off of it because hormonally some stuff is off. Anyway, but again, you think about, I've been, and when life events happen. So I think when my mom passed and transitioned, and I'm in my 40s, something clicked for me and said, what am I gonna do for me? My biggest validator is gone. So I was quick to, I know how to please you because you're my girl. I know what your buttons are. So I can quickly help and please other people. But when it came to me, I was last or didn't know. And so I'm in a point where, no, it's about me. Because if I focus on me, then everything around will be going to be okay. Because I'm going to attract those experiences that are on the same vibrational wavelength that I am on. And so that was important to me because I was dying.
Wow. Take us through that process though, right? Like you're dying. I imagine it's almost difficult to even get up.
Yeah.
To get out.
Yeah.
Like take us through that process of what you were feeling at the time, and then how you started to move towards the pleasure.
And so it was a combination on and off. So I would think it was slightly before her passing. It was just something in me saying, there's a void there. I'm so disconnected. And as much as we got all of this new technology to stay connected, that works sometimes. But even in a connection like this, there's disconnection.
Oh yeah, it's more disconnection with technology.
It's even more disconnection.
Even more disconnection.
So what I realized that the void that I had was connection. I was disconnected from myself. So how can I be in a fulfilling relationship or beloved relationship if I'm disconnected from me? So I had to get to the root cause. And when I started peeling back the layers, like peeling the onion back, right? And I started peeling back the layers, what I realized, in some good therapy, what I realized was that I was disconnected in the womb. So when my mother was pregnant with me, she was disconnected from me because she was in a interesting relationship with my father, and it wasn't healthy. She was in an interesting relationship with her mother because they weren't as connected. And so when you have in the womb this connection with your child, it wasn't intended. And then my grandfather was killed when she was 6 months pregnant with me. So she could not be connected to me. When you got all of this other stuff, yes. So disconnection started in the womb. But in my mind, before doing this work, I thought disconnection happened when the abandonment happened, when I didn't have my father in my life. The abandonment happened in the womb. So once I start learning all of this, yes, we're going to take a breath on that.
Because so many of us are fighting a battle that was given to us. Like it's not ours.
It wasn't mine. I didn't ask for it.
It's not. And what we do is we beat up ourselves for having that struggle, for feeling that way. and not even understand that the source of it we just acting out what was given.
We was acting out
we
what was
just
given.
Living out what was given to us.
In the cord, yep.
In the womb.
Yeah.
God, that's so interesting you said that, because with my second born son, I felt disconnected because I was 23 and I already had my oldest son at 21.
Okay.
And I was mad at myself that I did it again. Like, how do you find yourself in this again?
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. I was barely taking care of me and the other one.
Yeah.
And it was in a new relationship too. So at this point, the girl who went to college, first generation.
Yeah.
And now you already done messed up with what wasn't for you. You weren't going to be like that.
Right.
You had the first one at 21, not married. Now you're going to do it again with somebody else. Girl, I was distraught. Yeah. And at the same time, my mom saying, I can't see you as a mom. I was in the shower and I had to listen to Previa and Contract, like with all these sort of issues that came with it. And I didn't know what I was going to name them.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I couldn't believe at 9 months, I was still like,
Yeah.
Because I decided to keep him. And it came a point in time in his life where I realized he was reenacting the disconnect that. Yeah. And I had to learn a new way to love him and to connect with him in the way that he could feel the love.
All right.
So I'm happy because we have so many of us have that story from the womb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we fight in today's battles and feeling down about today's realities that really started before us.
And when you understand that and understand some of these layers are put on us that don't serve us, that ain't even ours. I didn't even ask for. And it puts on a level of anxiety that you didn't ask for. My mother was anxious with me in the womb. So any anxiety I have is from her.
And you don't even know how.
And you're like, what?
And then you're like, I want to fix it. I want to get married.
Yes.
But I love where you're going back to the idea of pleasure. How could you know pleasure?
How could I?
When from the time you entered in the world.
Right. And I said it's in the nervous system, right?
It was built in pain.
Excuse me, yeah.
Why wouldn't you recreate the patterns of pain?
Right.
When pleasure became pain since you came out the womb.
And so, but with that being said, you can reprogram.
Yes. I'm looking at the comments. Nadir said this is real. Many can identify with this. Amber is saying, that's good. This is good. Choose serenity inside of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So we can reprogram.
Yeah.
I think that's
a choice.
It's a choice, and I think a practice.
It's a choice. It's a daily practice. That's what I talk about. Right. I'm gonna choose to practice this because that's part of the 5 P's that I do talk about. But once you understand that, then you have to give yourself permission to heal from that and say, I understand that was comfortable and that's what I lived in. But now I'm giving myself permission to experience pleasure and to do it differently and redefine what that looks like. Yeah. And I think when you work with a coach, call me up if you need somebody. If you work with a good therapist, we got some coaches here, baby. But also a good therapist to help you to unpack. Yeah. I may bring up things, but I can't unpack it up. That's not what I do. But it's too much. And so in partnership with a good therapist that can challenge you, that can help you to get to the root of it. You're digging it, because what we do sometimes is if we heal with patches, we're gonna cover it up. We're gonna put a Band-Aid, but guess what? It's still gonna come up. So what you don't deal with, it will persist and it will come up, and it may come up in a different way. And so this is giving yourself permission to feel, understand where you're feeling in your body. Yeah. I tell people, look at the 5 senses. Like I even know when I was experiencing that, now that I'm experiencing and focusing on pleasure, my sense of smell is different. What I hear, being intentional about hearing, right. And I'm allowing that
where you are
and being present. That's one of my 5 P's, being present.
right? And people say that all the time. So first of all, and we talked about this a little bit this weekend, we talked about the little girl within us. And I know it's become a buzz thing, but it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Real thing. And what we talked about is how we go through phases of, I faced this, or I didn't get this, right? I was abused, or I didn't get what I needed from someone else, where I should have been loved and supported, this and that. But then I learned that life goes on.
Yes.
So I learned because I have to keep going. So I learned to push it down.
Yeah.
And then I got older and I started functioning and existing. But the issues that came, she called herself the dope psychologist that was breaking this down. She did a good job. But then there's core issues cognitively, spiritually, emotionally, right? And we think of it as this one thing, but no, there's something that happens psychologically.
Right.
There's something that happens cognitively. There's something that happens spiritually. There's something, and really the work is to heal each of those, because the issues come up when you're trying to function. They come up in the patterns, and you're like, why do I keep doing that? Yes. Even when we know. So for example, like you'll have a counselor say, you're worthy. Okay. That's what you're telling me. Right. I'm saying it. Right. But there's nothing in my being
that feels it,
that says that.
Right.
You're telling me to be present. But I live by thinking about what comes next, so I can prepare for it, so I can avoid right the things that I don't know, and I think that, well,
and what does that do? Bring anxiety, right?
And how about this one? How do I live in a state of pleasure when life keeps bringing me pain? When you get in that place of pleasure, you waiting for the shoe to drop.
Girl, because that's how we program our mind. Like, just too good to be true. Yeah. I'm waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
But the more you keep saying that, it's gonna come. Yeah, something's gonna happen. Yeah, because you just put it out there. So you got to be careful about what you are speaking. I said, what you speak about, you bring about. Like, you got to be real careful. And that's why being present is important.
How do you be present? How do you learn to be present?
It's a constant thing. It's a constant thing of reminding. So for me, I'm a go person. What I realized was that me going was me running away from me, because I'm a rescuer. Who I'm going to rescue today? Super Saver, H-O, whoa, clean MA channel. So I was that person. Who can I rescue today? Super Toya. Wonder Woman is going to rescue somebody, but I needed to rescue myself. And so I had to learn how to stay present. And so in staying present, I got to sometimes constantly say to myself, are you here? Or are you out there? So breathe. When I find myself out there, I take a breath. And that's why when I said to you, as we were getting this technology, I said, breathe. It's going to be all right. Yeah. Are we good?
And can we talk about breathing? Because a lot of us think we are, and we're not.
We're not.
When I was in that car accident, the physical therapist was like, breathe. And I said, I am.
She's like,
when you breathe, when you inhale, your stomach is going out.
Yeah.
Hold on, which one is it?
Yeah. So when you inhale, inhale, just place your hand on your belly. Just say, you inhale, your belly fills up in your hand like a big balloon.
It's supposed to go out.
Go way out. And then you exhale. But I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to share this with you. When you breathe out, give it sound. This is our first vibrator. Just saying. Just saying. I know, MA, mature audience. Yeah. But this right here, I know. She didn't invite me back. Anyway, I told you, PG. So this is your throat chakra.
Yeah.
Give it voice. When you breathe out, give it sound. So much of us are not giving things sound, even when you're doing those other things that we can't talk about until after 6. But anyway, give it sound.
And don't throw that in there, because I try to be focused on the breath.
Focus on the breath. But as long as it give you pleasure. But give it sound. Some of us, we hold so much in. You hold so much.
And that's why I learned that I was breathing from the chest.
Yeah.
That there's a block, like you said, that chakra. In the sessions, in my counseling sessions, I can't even give it sound because the trauma is that heavy. It's the first thing it takes is the voice.
It will.
It's why we as Black women struggle with advocating for ourselves.
Girl.
Communicating, articulating our needs. And you know what? We will cuss somebody out.
In a heartbeat.
But we don't communicate our needs.
And you mad at somebody else because you have not shared what you want and shared your desire. It is effectively. And it doesn't matter if you are in a personal relationship, a beloved relationship, or business.
Right.
If you're at work and you're not telling your leader, I need XYZ, don't get mad or he or she cannot provide, train, orchestrate anything for you if you have not articulated what you want to do.
Right.
And so this is the HR side of me coming through. And I tell people, when you're creating your development plan, you got to be very specific. Your manager is there to guide you, lead you, but you are the driver of that.
And of that at work, and let's expand it, you are the driver of your life.
Of your life. So
but
why?
That's what the trauma.
Yes.
The trauma, and you don't have to have been abused. If you're a Black woman in America, you have trauma.
Wait a minute. Let's go here. Let's be clear.
Yes.
We were born in trauma. If you think about Black people born in slavery, we were born in trauma.
Post-traumatic
yes.
syndrome. So if you think, and listen, I hope I don't offend nobody. I don't care if you think you arrived. I don't care if you're over in the suburbs, at the corporate position, with your voice on as you speak to people as they come into the room. You are still a Black woman in America, and you were born into trauma.
Yes.
Whether your Black family came from the country like mine, that ended up in the hood,
mm-hmm.
or whether you came from a place of privilege and your generations of the elite,
mm-hmm.
it does not change the fact that we were still born into the same trauma. And so that exists through our DNA.
Yes, it does.
And we are once again combating things that
mm-hmm.
we don't even know that we're combating.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it attacks our rights, our voice,
mm-hmm.
our peace,
and our pleasure. Because what other people feel is their birthright and very much act in that privilege, mm-hmm.
we expect to struggle.
Yeah.
We feel guilty. We shame each other.
We do. How dare you be in this space?
Oh, you do that?
How dare you live across another country?
Yeah, how dare you live in another country?
How dare you call me in February when I got on Triple Fat Goose and you got on Daisy Dukes and you told my let's talk and she's sweating and I'm over here shivering and she like I'm seeing blue water and white sand and we talking and I'm gonna have to come out the sun and I'm sitting up here like, you do know it's a blizzard, right? But you see my snow compared to your white sand and blue water. But I love her.
I gave myself permission.
Yes, you did.
To feel pleasure. People say, why did you move to the island? And I said, oh, like, why'd you move to the island? Why'd you do that? I said, because when I visited, I felt a sense of inner joy,
mm-hmm.
and peace
mm-hmm.
that I have never felt in my life.
Mm.
All the places I have been,
mm-hmm.
I have never felt so safe.
That's
I
critical.
have never felt so free,
mm-hmm.
which gave me pleasure.
You said the key words. When you have pleasure and how you can really be present with pleasure, because that was your initial question, we have to feel safe and liberated. That liberation, that expansion is powerful.
Yes.
But the safety piece is key in order to be liberated and free. We got to have that sense of safety.
And I love. So if you don't catch, I always say, you don't hear nothing else I say, but there's going to be some other things I want you to remember. Strive for safety and liberation.
Yes.
And I want to land on safety. Both of those we feel someone else has to give us. That's how we operate.
Yeah, because that's what we were taught.
Right. Are we going to this place? I don't feel safe there. I used to say that. Every relationship, this is when you gotta look at yourself. You don't feel safe in no relationship.
Right.
You don't feel safe. And that guy was like really nice, and everybody else can see that he's a really nice. You don't feel safe in that relationship. You don't feel safe on the job. You don't feel safe in this place and in that place. You might not feel safe within yourself.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is that's because maybe at some point your safety was taken. And now you've learned to constantly live in a state of fear because that little girl is always scared. But how do you start to remind yourself that you are your own safety? You can create a safe space for you, right? You have the ability to say, until you start giving your experiences words in a sense of not, I don't feel safe. What he said made me uncomfortable. Or I need this. Or it makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
Because then you can actually address the thing instead of constantly feeling something that has you blowing up everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's critical, and that's why safety, and make sure you share whatever they're saying. That safety is critical. But that's when you take little Monique and have a conversation with her. Little Latoya. I have a picture. I've been doing this exercise. This favorite picture. I'm 8 years old. I ain't had no perm, but my hair looked like I had a perm. It was slicked back. It was cute. I had this cute little yellow dress, and I was like a ray of sunshine. And I sit there and I talk to her because think about when you're 8 years old, you have this sense of wonder and awe and fantasy, and I could do anything. You're invincible, right? You could do anything, and then you get good and grown. Yeah, but some people, right? Because we had that sense of imagination, even if you had to escape into that world for a minute, right? And so for me, it's about, hey, what does safety looks like for me? Well, how about, let's do this first. How about we create boundaries? So then I know how safety can look for me if I create these boundaries. And when you create those boundaries, not only do you need to communicate those boundaries, your communication also happens when you demonstrate you honoring your own. You don't just say it, right? So I'm on this wannabe hot girl summer weight loss program. But if you say to me, girl, you should taste this donut, girl. This donut good. It will change your life. And I'm saying to you, no, I'm trying to have a remainder of a hot girl summer. I have a goal. I'm going to my 30th high school reunion. And so I want to look a certain way. And you say, no, but you got to taste this. The minute I taste this and I told you that I just showed you how to dishonor me. I just showed you that I don't honor my own boundaries. And I just gave you permission to do it too, baby. So it's simple, just like that. So when you say, oh, I got these boundaries and this is that and the third, okay, great, communicate that. But you got to also honor them themselves and show people how you honor yourself, even on your job. So I'm going to switch over. If you say, hey, you know what? Family time is from this time to this time. Please, manager, it would be good if you can respect me from 6. I'll do anything and of it and above everything you need me to do. Right. But between these hours, please respect my family time. You got to have boundaries throughout your life, professional. I think I emailed you over the weekend and said, sorry, business closed. And you ain't respond because I got boundaries. I learned to set those boundaries. Exactly. I learned about boundaries. It's harder. It's easier to maintain your boundaries. It's harder to get other people to respect them. Right. That's the hard part. The hard part is not setting the boundary and but other people, they don't care nothing about your boundaries. But guess what though? But that's when you retrain them and teach them. Exactly. And so when you retrain them, even your own family members, your boo, your beau, your boo thing, all of that, your mom and daddy, and all of them, your kids. You retrain them, right? So you retrain them. The one thing when you talk about kids, I do this work on me because I want my kids to be okay. And so when you talk about permission, even for me, I told Brandon, I said, I know these are babies and I'm I'm all emotional because my son going to high school and all this other stuff. And we used to pat him on the butt. I said, stop doing that, because I'm teaching the kids that their bodies are sacred, and that you need permission to touch them.
Yes. As listen, my youngest don't have no problem. He said, "Mom, can you stop touching me?"
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
I said, "What do you?" Well, I said, "Maybe I did my job." I said, "What do you mean? You my son?" I said, "No, Mom,
No, it's my body." And so, we all grew up kissing some hairy grandmamas and uncles and all them other things. And, we did things we were told to do and pushed to do that did not make us comfortable, and then sometimes folks have taken advantage of those, situations. So I'm teaching my kids to respect your body, respect, you are sacred. And so, yes, mommy loves you and I'm touchy-feely, but if you don't feel like kissing mommy at this point, it's okay. When you're ready, let me know. And so I'm teaching them now, give people permission.
Yeah. I have a question I want to make sure I get to.
Yeah.
The question was, why do we hold back giving sound? Going back to what we were saying about sound. Why do we hold back?
Shame. It could be shame. It could be, I don't want to look foolish. It could be, what does that look like? Or, how does that feel for me? It's nothing natural. And so it's so interesting, because no matter where I go and we do a breathing exercise, I did this a couple of weeks ago with a group of kids. We did a brief meditation. And when I was exhaling, I gave it sound and everybody laughed at me. I didn't care. But my thing is, because we've been so conditioned to keep everything in and to be quiet. But how are you going to use your voice and to let it out if you don't give it sound? We've been conditioned.
We were taught. You know that.
Yeah.
What they tell us?
Be quiet. Don't be seen. Be heard. Be seen. Whatever. And not heard. Right.
And not heard, and that just came to me too, because depending on where you are or the level of trauma, what do they call? I have some trauma. What they say? Basically, a lot of it. I forget the word, but I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And so I started hypnotherapy. Good. Which is a new level. Yeah. You recommended me to the counselor.
I did.
That's right. And so what I noticed, and I think, to answer that question too, is I think if you sit with yourself when something should have sound and it doesn't, and you can't, it will sort of pinpoint you to why not.
Right.
And so I learned that it was really in fear and in conditioning. Because even though that the abuse happened to me, nobody talked about it.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to talk about it. I was still supposed to go to church and to Sunshine Band and sing. And my grandma was very much about look, and you keep your stuff in the house. And without even saying, and it wasn't like she was like, "Don't tell nobody nothing, don't say nothing, you be quiet." But she demonstrated to me that you kept it together. Yeah. And you kept it moving. Yeah. And so when I'm in the counseling session and she's literally like, I'm subconscious, bringing up my subconscious thoughts, and I can't move. I can't say it. She was like, "Tell them this." And I'm like, I was like, wow. I was taught.
You were.
And so to be, now I'm loud though. But not about it's almost like a like focus on me over here and not all the stuff that's going on within me.
And one of the things, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being so vulnerable right now, because again, we have been taught to be, or our generation mostly, be quiet or what have you. Or if we were talkative, there's a difference between talking too much but not using your voice. Because you could be talking about other things but not really using your voice and going in your heart. And so I believe in this word called embodiment, and that's going within the body. And so like you just put your hand there and you said, I couldn't give it sound, but maybe sometimes if you just place your own healing hands on your throat and give yourself permission, maybe even put your hands over your heart and give it sound. And no matter what's going on, ask your body, where do I feel it? Like what sounds do I hear? What colors do I see? What's going on? Because we're losing so much of where we are. To stay present with what's going on, sometimes you just got to sit and be with the body. in your body.
Find your pleasure too,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why your body the body is so freaking amazing. That's why we gotta love all of it. And the one thing you'll know, your body will tell you and manifest things when you don't deal with your emotions. So anything that you don't deal with will come out in the physical form. So your throat chakra off because you got something to say. Watch all of a sudden you get a tickle. I ain't even got a cough. The sinuses ain't even draining, but you get a tickle in your voice all of a sudden, or all of a sudden you lose it. Like, why did I get hoarse or raspy? You got to say, okay, what do I need to say? Mm-hmm. And if you have a hard time, put your hand over your throat chakra and say, it's okay, Toya. What you got to say? It's okay. And give yourself permission.
I love that. That goes back to how you help yourself feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, saying, I'm not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We use our voice. And let's be clear, it's not to say everything that comes to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to go off on the people. That's not what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about when you feel there's something that you want to say and fear or whatever issue is stopping you from giving yourself that sound.
Mm-hmm.
Understand what you want to say and why, and create that safety for yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Because, and I think this goes back to pleasure, it's all a process of getting your power back.
It is.
And the pleasure and the permission for pleasure is I'm taking my power back.
Yeah.
I'm taking control back of myself and of my life, despite what happened to me in the womb, despite what happened to me in America as a Black woman, despite the abuse that I faced as a child or the abandonment that I faced as a child, despite the relationship that didn't work out that left me feel broken. I am saying that I am taking power, taking my power. I'm taking control back of my life. Whatever I learned that is not what I want to live, I am going to unlearn it, right?
Yes.
Whatever pain that I felt that did not bring me pleasure, if I learned that pain is pleasure, I'm going to teach myself something different.
That's right.
Right?
That's
like
right.
It is, and these are the small steps looking outside. And I think maybe that's why I did love the island so much, because there's so much beauty in nature. But you know what I learned? You take you everywhere you go.
You do.
So if I'm used to dealing with pain and struggle, that's what I'm experiencing.
It's gonna be on the water.
I sent you on and caught you on that line.
You was like, I ain't doing it.
I've been going through something. I was going through something that whole entire time. I felt like I squandered all the money that it took and all I can, because whatever was in me was coming up there.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't in the place that I blamed, that was bringing all of the
you
stuff.
You took it to a beautiful place. You just took it to a beautiful place.
Now the reason why all is well is because it's a beautiful place to heal. It's a beautiful place for things to come up, and it gave me space.
And you're near water.
Don't get in our lives.
Yeah.
That space as women, as mothers, leaders, to go to a place where we can let our stuff come up. We don't have to stuff because, the kid got an appointment at 4, or what happened?
Anybody else have?
Okay, let me see the question.
Any other questions?
Yes. So how about because look, we're gonna keep talking. Okay, how about the fear of what's lost as you are on your journey of setting boundaries?
Yeah, and so the fear of what's lost. So that's going to come up. That's real, right? But some losses are good. It just kind of depends on how you define it. It's your perspective. So it depends on, you're going to lose huge. You're going to lose the old you, because that's the first thing you're going to lose as you're doing. And it's going to feel like, it's like, because you were comfortable. You were comfortable. That's just like losing weight, right? You were comfortable at that weight. And so now that you're losing, you're like, I don't want that heaviness again, right? And I feel lighter, I look better, but also I may lose friends, family, but if I gotta lose that to find me, see y'all, deuces, I'm out. Because for so long we have been so conditioned, on, you love me and I keep you happy. That's what I got to do in order to fulfill me. No. And guess what? My happiness shouldn't be dictated on you. Define happiness or joy for you And that is it. When I'm living in my pureness of joy, everything is going to walk with me the way I need to. And guess what? Everybody is not about your energy, because you too bright for some people. Some people like to be in darkness, and it's okay. And allow them to be in darkness. But let your light shine so bright. And those who can radiate from that, they're going to be, oh, can I be around you? Can we go to lunch? Can I go to the, I got a room in your space in the island. But anyway, everybody's going to be attracted to that light, because there's a light in them that wants to see it and feel it. So yes, you got to be okay to do it scared. So it's okay to say, I may lose my parents. Like, they may not like the new me. I may lose my beloved, my boo thing. May be too much for them. I may lose my best friend from kindergarten. It may happen, but you got to understand that. Aren't you more important? Do you value yourself? Are you important enough? Because honestly, if we live, my God, you said, what you wish people can do? I wish we can love each other unconditionally. I wish I could love myself unconditionally. And so that's what I'm learning too, to love all of me, good, bad, and ugly, to love the old me that I'm losing, and to be opening and to thank her for what she done for me. Yeah, she hooked the girl up.
Yeah, and I think about, we've all seen that picture where it's like Jesus and the little girl, and there's a little bear, and then he got the big bear behind his back. She don't want to let go of the little bear, but he's saying, I have more. So I think when we think about what we lose, think of that. What's her name that with the closet, clearing out the closet? When you're supposed to clear out the closet and only have in there what brings you joy.
Okay.
Condo or something like that.
Okay.
You never heard of that? Oh my God! Yeah, have you done that to your closet?
No. What
Talk about pleasure. You take out the things. You look at everything.
Oh yeah. Right. You look at everything and you say, does it bring you joy? And if it don't bring you joy, you put into stuff that brings you joy. You keep yes.
What happens? It creates space.
Girl, to bring in more joy, you better say. And then if you color code it, it really brings you pleasure. You be like, ooh, I need less black. I need more yellow. I need some pink. Yeah, but it helps you to realize how much can I put more vibrancy in my life now.
So let's think about it, because it's all perspective. We can focus on what we're losing, or we can focus on what we about to get.
Hallelujah.
Come on, somebody.
Hallelujah. Any other comments or questions?
Okay. People are talking to be quiet about the painful past. It shows up in their lives and how they treat others. Absolutely. Hurt people.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we go back to this idea of pleasure, because what we really want to say is we want to give you permission, and we're going to be wrapping up soon. We want to give you permission for pleasure. And what we have been saying is that you find that pleasure in safety and in liberation.
Yeah. And what does that look like for you?
And when you're present with yourself, start to take inventory of the things that bring you pleasure and do more of it. What do you say to women that feel guilty for seeking and really living in their pleasure, even at the cost?
Yeah, of cost of loss. Yeah,
of loss, of choosing them over their partner, over their children in that moment, like a decision of pleasure that puts those things in jeopardy. What do you say for the guilt that comes up?
I say that number one, be forgiving and look at it through the unconditional lens of unconditional love. That's all you can do. Because if you continue to judge it, if you continue to say, I'm not deserving of it, then you won't have it. And then you'll find yourself miserable. When I tell you, I was not going to go to my 30th high school reunion is coming up. I wasn't going to go because I live here in Cleveland. Most of the people I want to see, I see or connected through them through social media. But I also realized people are dying. People my age or around my age or younger, people are dying, but people are dying. One thing that has happened for me when my mother transitioned, I feel her spiritually even more so, telling me, girl, you better live life on your terms. And so with that being said, I want people to be intentional about having an intimate relationship with self. This is your time. We are in a new space. The world is different now. If you don't get connected to you, everything else outside of you is going to control you. And we cannot be out of control. So I'm going to leave you with these 5 P's.
Yeah.
The 5 P's. Pleasure. Again, understanding what that looks like for you. And so take a journal. This is your home play. I don't call it homework because when people don't like to do homework, I give you home play. And take the time to find out what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure. Sit with your body and feel where pleasure lies in your body and get in tune with that. Create a ritual around that. Permission. You have a choice to give it voice.
Yes.
So give yourself permission to experience pleasure, redefine it, what it looks like for you, whether it's in your personal relationship, in your professional relationship. That is important. Be present.
Yeah.
That requires you to be fully engaged in who you are. And if you're trying to control something, it's not going to work. Yeah. Be present really means that. And what you might just need to do is just breathe. Your mind gonna continue to keep going, but just breathe. Then you got to practice. You talked about that. How are you going to do it? You got to practice it. That other P, you got to put it in. You got to put it in forward motion every single day. So when you wake up in the morning, set your intentions. I'm going to experience pleasure today. No matter what comes me, whatever's thrown my way, I am still going to experience pleasure in some form today. And I'm going to be intentional about it. And I'm going to pay attention to where it shows up in my body. And I'm going to pay attention. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to assess it.
Right.
I'm just going to be within it and use my voice. And the last thing is have patience. This stuff is not easy.
It's not.
Forgive yourself.
Forgive over and over.
Forgive over and over with an unconditional grace stick.
Yes.
You want to beat yourself? You always beating yourself up? Yeah, you can beat yourself up, but make sure it's with a grace stick. Yeah, and do it with unconditional love and say, okay, we had a blunder today, but guess what? One of the things I've seen lately, people been skating for a long time, but people really skating. And the one thing you learn if you took skating lessons, they tell you the more you fall, the better you get. Keep falling. But you're going to fall and do your best to land on that ass, right? Land on that soft cushion part, but throw your hands up. And so I tell you, throw your hands up, release it. Let go of the control. Let go of things that don't serve you anymore. Just let it go. Throw your hands up and feel soft on your butt and say, okay, because I know that I'm learning something from it. I'm going to get something from it. That's why I'm on this journey. And I'm going to find pleasure even in the pain of it. And I'm going to redefine it for me. And I'm going to do it with my hands up. And it is okay. And I'm ready with my hands up.
She winked at me, y'all. She winked at me. Listen, I was going to ask us anything else you want to tell the people, but I think it's this right there, right?
That's it.
If they don't take nothing else from this whole entire conversation, is it that last thing you said?
It's that last thing. Give yourself permission.
Yeah.
Throw your hands up, let go, and do what you do. If you got to twerk it, when you twerk it with it, you got to feel it in your body, you better twerk it with it. You got to feel it in your body, you get the twerk. Yeah, put on your favorite song, get the music going. Give yourself permission for pleasure every single day. Because guess what? It's your birthright, honestly.
It honestly is.
It's your birthright.
And on that note, we want to thank you for being patient with us and giving us a grace stick, for coming back, for Make It Happen Mondays. We will be here again next week. I might just focus on virtual.
It's all right.
Instead of in person. But if I was going to do it with anybody, I'm glad I did it with you.
Yes.
So thank you, Latoya. Thank y'all for tuning in. We will see you next week. Listen, make it happen this week. Give yourself permission to feel pleasure every single day of your life. All right?
See ya.
See ya. Look, now I got to get up.
It's all right. It's all right. Oh.